Jangan lupa like, comment, share, and subscribe. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum sahabat, bagaimana keadaan kalian hari ini? Semoga selalu dalam lindungan Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala ya. Pada kesempatan ini, kita akan membahas tentang Stasiun Internasional Luar Angkasa atau ISS. Silakan besarkan volume video Anda dan selamat memperhatikan.
Have you ever been gazing at a starry sky when suddenly a bright dot glided into view? If it wasn't blinking, then you've had the distinct pleasure of seeing one of mankind's greatest collaborative feats with your own eyes, the International Space Station. Roughly the size of a 6-bedroom house and weighing more than 320 cars, the International Space Station is so large that no single rocket could have lifted it into orbit. Instead, it was assembled piece by piece while hurtling through space at 28,000 kilometers per hour, lapping the Earth once every 90 minutes. It all started when 16 nations signed the Space Station Intergovernmental Agreement, laying out each partner's expected contributions to the ISS, from modules and maintenance to sharing information and finances. At an estimated $100 billion, the space station would be the most expensive object ever built. The whole world watched as a Russian rocket launched the first module of the ISS into the sky. Zarya, meaning sunrise, was equipped with 2 solar panels and a propulsion system that had the important task of keeping the young station from crashing into the Earth by staying a safe 400 kilometers away. The U.S. Space Shuttle Endeavour followed 2 weeks later, carrying Unity, a node module to which other modules could be connected, and an international 6-person assembly crew. Then came Zvezda, which brought communications and living accommodations. 2001 saw the arrival of Destiny, the first of 4 research modules, where astronauts spend approximately 36 hours a week conducting extraordinary experiments in microgravity. There also controls the 7-jointed robotic Canadarm2. Capable of moving more than 100,000 kilograms, it's perfect for unloading new arrivals from shuttles. 2001 was a busy year for the space station, with the addition of Quest, the main airlock for strolls outside, and Pierce, a pier for Russian spacecrafts to dock, including the ever-ready emergency escape vehicle, Soyuz. Then, on February 1st, 2003, after delivering research modules to the ISS, the Space Shuttle Columbia exploded during re-entry, tragically killing the 7-member crew on board. After a 4-year hiatus, work quickly picked up pace with the addition of more hubs, airlocks, docks, and an observation cupola for stunning 360-degree views of our world and beyond. Other critical components included platforms and trusses to support radiators that direct all the heat generated by the station's electronics into space, and solar panels that are efficient enough to power 55 homes. It took 10 years and over 30 missions, but finally the International Space Station was complete, coinciding with the U.S. Space Shuttle program's retirement. The space station continues to serve as an incredible model for international collaboration. This year, 2 people began a 1-year stay on the ISS, allowing scientists to study the long-term physical and psychological effects of being in space, which would prove useful for increasingly ambitious space travel, like trips to Mars. Over its lifetime, we've learned an immense amount scientifically, but also about our capacity to work together and accomplish truly remarkable acts.
Bagaimana? Menarik? Menakjubkan? Apakah Anda tertarik berangkat ke sana? Ataukah otak detektif Anda menemukan hal-hal yang janggal? Mari kita telisik lebih dalam lagi. Ada beberapa hal menarik yang akan kita bahas. Pertama, ISS berhasil dirakit bagian demi bagian di luar angkasa dalam keadaan mengorbit bumi dengan kecepatan 27.600 km per jam, di mana kecepatan ini mampu mengelilingi diameter bumi dalam waktu 92 menit pada ketinggian 400 km di termosfer bersuhu ekstrim 2360 derajat Celcius. Tahukah Anda seberapa cepat 27.600 km per jam itu? Seberapa sulit menyatukan dua benda yang bergerak dalam kecepatan tersebut? Sehebat itukah NASA hingga mampu melakukan semua hal tadi? Faktanya, benda tercepat yang pernah terekam kamera adalah Boeing X-43A milik NASA. Bila di antara kalian ada yang mengira NASA membuat semua teknologinya sendiri, faktanya tidak demikian. NASA tidak membuat teknologinya sendiri. Mereka menyewa kontraktor seperti Hughes dan Boeing sebagai perusahaan yang bertanggung jawab merakit teknologi roket dan jet milik NASA. Wikipedia mencatat kecepatan Boeing X-43A mencapai 11.850 km per jam sebelum hancur dan terbakar setelah melesat tajam selama 2 menit 37 detik di tes peluncurannya pada tahun 2014 lalu. Untuk mendapatkan kecepatan tersebut, X-43A tidak meluncur dari darat, melainkan diluncurkan dari udara dengan bantuan pesawat lain. Pertanyaannya, bagaimana bisa ISS tidak hancur dan terbakar di atmosfer padahal kecepatannya 2 kali lebih cepat dan berada pada suhu ekstrim yang mampu melelehkan logam apapun di bumi? Lalu, coba Anda perhatikan model rangka ISS itu. Kemudian, bandingkan dengan rangka X-43A. Kira-kira model kerangka yang mana yang akan bertahan lebih lama di kecepatan supersonik? Apakah Boeing X-43A yang berbadan ramping dan padat didesain khusus untuk menahan laju udara walaupun tetap hancur dalam waktu 2 menit 37 detik di setengah kecepatan ISS? Ataukah ISS sendiri yang memiliki kerangka yang rapuh, tidak didesain untuk menahan tekanan stratosfer, tapi secara menakjubkan mampu bertahan pada kecepatan dan suhu yang jauh lebih ekstrim? Silakan berikan komentar kalian ya. Namun, NASA mengklaim ISS bisa bertahan karena ia mengorbit di ruang yang vakum. Hal ini menyebabkan gesekan yang terjadi sangatlah minim hingga rangka ISS mampu bertahan. Di samping itu, kerapatan partikel termosfer juga sangat rendah. Hal ini menyebabkan termosfer di sana tidak menghantarkan panas dengan baik. Artinya, walaupun temperatur di termosfer menunjukkan angka yang sangat tinggi, sebenarnya suhunya rendah dan dingin hingga ISS mampu bertahan dengan baik. Gimana menurut kalian? Bagaimana bisa NASA mendapatkan angka 2360 derajat Celcius di suhu yang dingin? Masuk akal? Silakan beri komentar kalian ya. Kedua, ISS menghabiskan dana lebih dari 100 miliar dolar dalam misi pembangunannya. Namun, tidak pernah ada audit, transparansi keuangan, dan lain sebagainya karena pembangunan ini dilakukan di luar angkasa. Tahukah Anda dari mana NASA mendapatkan anggaran pembuatan ISS ataupun satelit-satelit itu? Tentu itu adalah uang Anda juga. Anda harus membayar biaya telepon, internet, TV berbayar, dan lain-lain dengan biaya yang tidak murah bukan? Padahal kalian tidak memerlukan satelit untuk melakukan panggilan telepon ataupun browsing internet. Kalau begitu, bagaimana caranya?
Hey everyone, Amy here. Our friends at Seeker went on a shoot to Alaska recently and they came back with a story that we just had to tell on D News. It's about a huge, ambitious military project called White Alice. The US and Canadian Air Forces set up a series of radar listening posts along the Arctic Ocean, but they needed a way to relay information across the state, and fast. And that is where White Alice came in. Beginning in 1955, the Air Force and Army built a network of communications hubs that used a very new technology to connect with one another. Phone calls and other data were transmitted via microwaves, beamed up into the air, bounced off the Earth's atmosphere, and back down to a receiving site. process, called tropospheric scattering, had and still has a lot of advantages over other technologies. First, bouncing signals off the atmosphere means that hubs don't need a clear line of sight to communicate, which is a useful thing in a mountainous place like Alaska. This way, White Owl sites could be 200 miles apart. The signal could also support multiple phone calls at the same time, something few other systems could manage. And, crucially for the military, it was secure. Once a signal is beamed out, it can only be received at one exact spot, making it next to impossible to intercept the signal along the way. Similar networks sprung up all around the world. The US even connected Hawaii to the Philippines through the Pacific Scatter system. But before White Alice was even complete, a new technology arrived to replace it. In 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik, the world's first artificial satellite. Interestingly, White Alice remained in use until the late 70s as a civilian phone network. And today, the military still uses troposcattering networks here and there because they're still really secure. But this remains the era of satellites.
Tak banyak yang tahu, satelit melayang-layang di angkasa adalah science fiction ciptaan Arthur C. Clarke. Satelit bukan karya saintis, tapi karya novelis. Satelit diluncurkan pertama kali tahun 1957, Sputnik. Itu yang dipropagandakan. Yang diam-diam dilakukan, dirahasiakan, dan tidak diumumkan adalah teknologi White Alice.
Sahabat, karena durasi sudah melebihi batas, materi ini akan kita lanjutkan di episode selanjutnya ya. Silakan tekan tombol subscribe agar kamu menjadi orang pertama yang menyaksikan pembahasan selanjutnya. Bila video ini berkesan, silakan tekan tombol share dan bagikan info ini kepada teman-teman kalian ya, agar makin banyak teman-teman kita yang sadar akan perang pemikiran yang sedang kita hadapi. Sampai jumpa.
Akhir Zaman Motovlog Channel.
Jangan lupa like, comment, share, and subscribe. Terima kasih.